You know, the Department of Education, I mean, they're spending $80 billion. You know, the main thing the Department of Education does is run up the cost of college education by subsidizing all these student loans and making it possible for universities to raise their tuition every year because they know that the students can get the money from the government to pay it. And we've got to get the government out of education, at least the federal government at the federal level, and return that money to the states. Like if I say I don't want the federal government, you know, spending money on education, well, it doesn't mean that the governments can't spend money on education because we still have state governments. And, you know, you can have an argument whether or not we'd have a better education system if we had vouchers on a state level, if we had more people in private schools rather than public schools. But even if you want to take that argument aside, if the federal government simply wasn't spending that money on education, then that money would stay in the states. And the state governments could spend it on education. And I think it'd be a lot more efficient than sending the money all the way to Washington and then asking for some of it back. Because it's too much, there's too much bureaucracy siphoning off the money. So I want to have as much done as possible on a local level and as little done as possible on a federal level, which is how the country was designed. That's how the country was set up. That's why the Constitution created a federal government of very limited and specifically delegated powers. That's the whole 10th Amendment. That's what the Constitution is about. We're supposed to have a federal government of few and defined powers where the responsibilities are minimal other than wartime.